Okay, in this section, we're going to be reviewing how to turn this business into a hands-off business. From the early stages of utilizing technology to give you more freedoms to later stages of hiring and scaling a whole team. At this point, you have a really good idea of what you need to do to automate your listings after listening to the managing multiple listings lesson, the handyman lesson, the cleaning lesson. Automation basically comes down to three main keys or buckets. The goal is to find an individual to cover each of these three buckets and then manage them. Again, this is the second time I'm touching on this Henry Ford quote. He was the richest man in the world for a time. He said, "You do not build the company, you build the people, and the people build the company." That is what we are in the business of. You are the conductor who looks at everything from a sky view and sees the big picture that the cleaner can't possibly see because they don't have the same view as you. I'm using the cleaner as an example of one of the three buckets. But to shed some light on an example I have to share, there are not many times when a cleaner has called me with an issue to a house that prevents the next guest from arriving. But these events do actually happen. And when something like this happens, I already know what's going to happen. My cleaner, who can't possibly see things from my view because you don't know what you don't know, they'll call me in a panic and they'll be like, "Anthony, we have a big problem. The washer is leaking in some water. What are we going to do? The guests are coming. They're going to be here in a few hours." And she doesn't know that I have a sky view and can see things that she can't. Well, how I would respond to that situation is I would first communicate with my cleaners that panicking and overthinking never fix any issue, and in the future, to present the scenario as it is without the added dramatics. Then I look at my calendar and see what I can do and see what my options are. I notice that the next guests are only staying for 2 days. They probably won't even need the washer, but I don't want to bank on that. I also have another unit a half mile away that is vacant where I can move these guests. It's very similar to the unit that I have, and they'd probably be okay with that if I reached out to them and said, "Hey, would you like to move to this other unit?" Or I can simply just reach out to the guests, advise them of the issue, apologize, and offer to have it fixed either throughout their stay or after their stay. My cleaner, however, did not know I had these options, and she is learning just like us. Now the next time she's going to understand that, okay, maybe he sees something that I don't. But it is our job to always manage and keep the situations and other people's emotions from escalating. The latter of the two, you definitely have to do. Definitely have to keep emotions from escalating a lot in this business. That is why we stay on the top of these systems, looking over the processes instead of getting involved in the day-to-day minutia. It's all perspective. And if we want to grow and scale and create massive wealth and freedom, we must keep the perspective of a high-level business owner who won't waste time on tasks they can delegate or are not simply worth their time. Falling into a specific issue like the one I described above will narrow your perspective like the cleaner's perspective. It will bring you into the problem where you cannot see outside of the box. You also must guard your mind so when the cleaner presents a situation to you as a problem, you don't believe them that it's a problem, and you don't follow them and meet them at their perspective. You have to stay from your perspective. One, it's not a problem. It's just an event that occurred, and there is always going to be options. And as the owner of your company, you have to believe that, because if you don't, nobody else will. Two, if they could have solved it themselves, the cleaner could have solved the problem herself, then she would have. So it makes no sense for me to come down to her perspective and try to solve it from her perspective, which is one with no solutions. And I know that because they already called me and told me, "Hey, we have a problem. I need your help." If she was able to figure it out, she would have. No point in meeting her from her perspective there. Now, let's talk about the multiple things you will be looking at from your unique sky view in order to keep your goals moving forward. The three keys to automation are really the three people to manage your automation. You have your cleaning crew, you have your handyman, and you need someone to handle the check-in and check-out or guest communication. Check-in and check-out is another word for communication with the guests and handing off keys. Communicating with your guests throughout this process, I will recommend you take on yourself while you're growing. This is a key while you're growing, but not forever. So really quick, I'm just going to touch on why communication is important for you to do yourself up front.